scooters like Momo and Z1R, and these really cool jackets in both nylon and leather in all colors and styles.
So, this is a pretty good look for me, don't you think?
No, but we have lots of other stuff.
Scooters Apparel and Service, the Scooter Superstore of America, just east of 95 off Sheridan behind Boggs Field Park.
What's for breakfast, Mom?
Well, we have wheat, barley, rye, mixed with millet, corn, and oats, with a side of sunflower and sesame seeds.
Eating healthy can be delicious with Publix Bakery multigrain bread. It's made with whole grains and seeds and baked fresh from scratch, in store throughout the day.
Oh, whole grains and seeds for breakfast. Good choice.
Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
January 20th, one man will change history, and today will be there. The inauguration of Barack Obama, live from Washington, only on NBC.
Historic journey. The next president of the United States makes his way to Washington. A whistle-stop trip as thousands line his route to the White House. Our special coverage begins tonight.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
On this inauguration weekend, Washington, D.C. tonight, greeting Barack Obama as he arrives to take the oath of office here at the U.S. Capitol just 3 days from now. Good evening, everyone. We will have full coverage of Barack Obama's celebratory journey to Washington in just a moment, but also here in New York tonight as crews are recovering that ill-fated U.S. Airways Airbus from the Hudson River. For the first time, we are hearing the pilot's remarkable account of what went wrong 90 seconds into Flight 1549.
When asked which runway the pilot would like to land on, the pilot responded, "We're gonna be in the Hudson." And that is the last communique from the plane.
We'll hear more of that account and an urgent new food warning why the FDA is telling all Americans tonight, don't eat peanut butter. But on this busy Saturday evening, we begin with Barack Obama's final stops on the way to the White House. As we come on the air tonight, the president-elect's train is pulling into Union Station in Washington. Chief White House correspondent Chuck Todd has been on board the Obama train. He's in Baltimore now with more. Hello, Chuck.
Good evening, Lester. Well, battling frigid temperatures today, some 50,000 people saw Barack Obama off during this three-city tour that began in Philadelphia. It's all part of a three-day inaugural countdown of sorts to Inauguration Day itself. In a vintage railroad car, President-elect Barack Obama rolled out of Philadelphia today, embarking on a whistle-stop train tour full of symbolism. In a send-off at Philadelphia's historic 30th Street station, Obama previewed what could be some of the themes he'll deliver in Tuesday's inaugural address.
Only a handful of times in our history has a generation been confronted with challenges so vast. An economy that's faltering, 2 wars, one that needs to be ended responsibly, one that needs to be waged wisely.
And he invoked the Founding Fathers.
What's required is a new Declaration of Independence, not just in our nation, but in our own lives.
Obama, accompanied by his wife Michelle and his daughters Malia and Sasha, were all smiles as they boarded their Georgia 300 caboose for their day-long trek to the nation's capital.
Okay, let's go. Yeah, don't fall through. That would really mess up our whole inauguration.
Also in the 10-car train, a slew of invited guests, campaign supporters and voters he met on his 2-year journey to the presidency. Today's 137-mile journey from Philadelphia to Washington was full of symbolism. Embracing this moment in history, President-elect Obama took a page from Lincoln, trying to rally a nation economically on the mend. Rolling past thousands of frigid onlookers who lined the tracks in tiny Claymont, Delaware, and on to Wilmington, where he picked up his running mate, Joe Biden.
Amtrak's #1 commuter, Vice President-elect Joe Biden.
The incoming vice president attempted to warm up a crowd of well-wishers.
Sometimes, just sometimes, it's hard to believe that we'll see the spring again. But I tell you, spring is on the way.
The president-elect struck a different tone from his earlier speech, sounding like candidate Obama.
And we will fight for you every single day that we're in Washington, because Joe and I are committed to leading a government that is accountable.
It was also a momentous day for Michelle Obama, who was serenaded by the crowd in celebration of her 45th birthday. And in Baltimore, the biggest crowd of the day greeted the incoming president.
Yours are the voices I'll carry with me every day in the White House.
A significant political development today, actually. Barack Obama finally made a decision about what to do with that 13 million strong email list. There had been a debate about whether to hand it over to the Democratic National Committee officially or not. It looks like they are going to do that, which is a big development for anybody running for office as a Democrat. They now are going to be able to get their hands on those Obama supporters. Lester?
All right, Chuck Todd. Chuck, thanks much. From that train car, the president-elect had a sweeping view of the deep reservoir of goodwill among many Americans that he will carry into the White House on Tuesday. NBC's Rahima Ellis on the crowds that lined Mr. Obama's trip to Washington.
They came from near and far to watch a train pass by. Families young and old, some had waited for hours.
He came through here so that people like us could see him, the middle class, and know he's there and he's there for us.
Winnette Milliner came with 4 generations of family.
I'm from Philadelphia, looking forward to my 80th birthday in June, and this has been so great to celebrate this occasion.
And I believe he represents what we want for our families, for our home, for our country.
All along the tracks, people braved the bitter cold for a glimpse of the next president carrying a message of hope.
Hello, Delaware!
In Wilmington, Delaware, the Ragland family brought their children for a real-life lesson about their nation.
This is literally history being made, and I want my children to see this, to know they can be anything.
It was amazing. I was like, wow, I'm actually here looking at the president-elect. It was very cool.
While in the crowd, a recent arrival to the United States looks to the future.
I have a child, a small child, he's 18 months, and I believe one day when he's going to go to school, I will be able to say Mommy was there.
There to witness and celebrate what many thought they would never see. Rahima Ellis, NBC News, Wilmington, Delaware.
Let's turn now to that pilot's account of what happened on board that stricken U.S. Airways jet that ditched in New York's Hudson River earlier this week. He told his story to investigators today for the first time. NBC's Kevin Tibbles, he's in Lower Manhattan tonight where crews are retrieving that plane. Kevin, what's the latest?
Good evening, Lester. As crash investigators and salvage crews continue to work on bringing the downed plane up out of the water, new information tonight about those final crucial seconds before Flight 1549 hit the Hudson. Today, new images of U.S. Airways Flight 1549 as it made its emergency landing into the frigid waters of the Hudson River. And late this afternoon, after interviewing the flight crew, the NTSB released new details about what was going on inside the plane during its harrowing 5-minute flight. At 3:25 Thursday afternoon, the Airbus A320 took off from New York's LaGuardia Airport.
The controller instructed the crew to climb to 15,000 feet. The crew acknowledged.
Just seconds later, this transmission.
This is Cactus 1549, hit birds. We lost thrust in both engines. We're turning back towards LaGuardia.
But then the pilot said there was no time.
The pilot responded, "We're gonna be in the Hudson," and that is the last communique from the plane.
Flight attendants say they heard a loud thud and then the engine simply stopped. One said it was as quiet as a library. Another said the landing was hard. One impact, no bounce. But neither realized they were in the water. Meanwhile, on land, witnesses were calling 911.
Oh my God, it was a big plane. I heard a big boom just now. When we looked up and the plane came straight over us.
The pilot, Captain Chesley Sullenberger, is being hailed a hero. Survivor Billy Campbell recalls his conversation with the co-pilot as they were waiting to be rescued.
And the thing I'll always remember is I said, well, so you're up there. We're coming into, it's inevitable. What did you think? And he kind of paused. He said, I have to tell you, I thought it would be a lot worse.
The crew says throughout the ordeal, Captain Sullenberger made it his goal to ensure all passengers got off and that he was the last to leave. And of course, Lester, the survivors of this crash landing in the Hudson are praising all of the crew members on board for their quick thinking while in harm's way. They would include First Officer Jeffrey Skiles and then, of course, the 2 flight attendants who are on board that flight, Sheila Dahl and Doreen Welsh. And of course, there are many grateful families across this nation tonight for their work during this.
You bet, Kevin. And when they get that plane now on dry land, what's the first order of business?
First order of business, of course, is to go after the black box flight recorders that are in the tail section. And then, of course, they're also searching for one of the plane's engines. One is still on. The other is lost in the bottom of the Hudson. They want to check those to see whether or not it was indeed a strike from birds that brought this plane down. Lester?
Kevin Tibble's in New York tonight. Thank you. And a program note, Captain Sullenberger will give his first interview live to Matt Lauer Monday morning exclusively on Today. As we told you at the top of this newscast, there was a new warning from the Food and Drug Administration and a widening salmonella scare. The FDA is advising consumers not to eat any product containing peanut butter or peanut paste. The agency is still trying to determine just how many products have been contaminated by a strain of salmonella that has already left 6 dead and more than 450 sick in 43 states. NBC's chief medical editor, Dr. Nancy Snyderman, joins us tonight from West Palm Beach, Florida. Nancy, what should we all know about this?
Oh, this has been a tough one to crack, Lester, not only because it's been over so many states, but because normally in the peanut roasting process of making peanut butter, the peanuts are roasted to about 350 degrees, which should be enough, frankly, to kill salmonella. It's a bacteria that can exist in some contaminated foods, and the reason why it matters is because in the elderly and in the young, it can kill people, causes vomiting, diarrhea, high fever, and there's always a concern whenever you have contaminated food in a product that's disseminated so widely in this country to get to the root of the problem. They think they found the plant in Georgia, but now the problem is so much peanut butter in so many of our foods. The FDA is saying, be cautious, don't eat it until we give you the thumbs up.
And you noted that those with compromised systems, the young and old, could have a problem. The rest of us, would we get violently sick or maybe not even put 2 and 2 together?
You're going to get sick enough that you're going to feel lousy. The vomiting and diarrhea is going to prompt you to wonder how you got it. And if you've had peanut butter recently, you should at least beware and let the health authorities know, because these are required to be reported to local health commissioners. And the most important thing right now, go to your websites, check the FDA, because the FDA says this is dynamic and they're going to keep a current list of products. But right now, expect empty store shelves and buyer beware. Don't eat it until the FDA says it's okay.
And of course, we have the latest at nightly.msnbc.com. Dr. Nancy Snyderman, thanks very much. We appreciate it. Tonight, much of the country is dealing with dangerous cold, with temperatures and wind chills well below 0. Parts of the South today were colder than Alaska. Weather Channel meteorologist Mike Seidel is in Pittsburgh tonight. Mike, good evening to you.
Good evening, Lester. Well, here in Pittsburgh, it's finally gotten out of the deep freeze. It was 10 below this morning. Right now, almost 30 degrees warmer. But look at some of these cold, numbing facts from a bitter cold week from the Midwest to the Northeast. Minneapolis, you had 4 consecutive days where the thermometer stayed below 0. Chicago, yesterday morning, 18 below 0, the coldest you've seen in 13 years, and it didn't even get above 0 during the afternoon. This morning in New York Central Park, 6 degrees, not a record, but 20 off the average, and an all-time low in Cedar Rapids of 29 below 0. And as Lester mentioned, you couldn't even escape the chill in Florida. Pensacola Beach this morning, 27. Meanwhile, it was 43 up in Fairbanks, Alaska. Tonight we will have some snow, a band of snow moving across the northeast of New England. Heaviest totals up there around Portland and Bangor, 6 inches plus. Then we look forward to the upcoming week, the inauguration, and the next cold air mass. Not as bitter as the preceding one. The inauguration forecast, Lester, temperatures in the upper 20s, wind chills in the teens, a day in D.C. made for layers, hats, and hand warmers.
We will all bundle up. Mike Seidel, thanks very much. When we come back here tonight, security detail, the lockdown in Washington, what we're learning tonight about the most heavily guarded inauguration ever. Nightly News continues after this.
Sooner or later, you and your gray hair will face an identity crisis.
My hair says experience. My hair says energy.
Touch of gray, the best of both. Combs away a little gray without getting rid of it all. Never too much, just right.
Now I look like I know what I'm doing, and can still do it. Hey, guy, get your heads together.
Touch of gray, the best of both.
Anxious about quitting cold turkey? Make that first step easier with the Nicoderm CQ patch. Nicoderm steps you down from nicotine gradually, doubling your chance for success. Nicoderm CQ, 3 steps, 10 weeks, and you're free.
I'm Mark Goldston, Chairman and CEO of Net Zero. Here's a plan for America's broadband users to save $16 billion a year and $300 individually. Switch to Net Zero dial-up at $9.95 per month. Call 1-800-NET-ZERO or go to netzero.com.
What you did at this morning's meeting, that was pure poetry.
Stop it.
Hello, you spotted a $1 million accounting error that no one else noticed.
That was pretty sweet.
But you did have 8 layers of sweet, crunchy backup.
What can I say? You're the man. Or the little dude.
That's me.
Stay sharp by stopping mid-morning hunger with Kellogg's Frosted Mini Wheat Cereal. It's an excellent source of fiber that helps you stay full and focused.
He's a little focused right now. Can I take a message?
If your auto policy could talk, what would it tell you?
Ah, the smell of money. I'm the auto policy that you're paying too much for. You're paying for stuff you don't even need. But hey, you got deep pockets. And what's a few $100s among friends? Right?
Stop paying too much for your auto policy. Switch to 21st Century Insurance. We cross-check 21 unique personal factors so you can save hundreds on coverage that's just right for you. 21st Century Insurance. Just right, just for you.
Switch to Swiffer 360 Duster, and you'll never go back to your old Duster again.
Baby, come back. You can blame it on me. Baby, come back.
Swiffer 360 Dusters, all-around fibers, get up to twice as much dust as feather dusters, with 50% more fibers than regular Swiffer dusters.
Come back, baby, come back.
360 Duster. Swiffer gives cleaning a whole new meaning.
As reported, Barack Obama is back in Washington tonight. When he is sworn in as president in just 3 days, he'll be at the center of the most carefully guarded inauguration ever, with thousands of police and National Guardsmen out in force. NBC Justice correspondent Pete Williams has been covering the security detail and has our report.
As workmen brave the cold to finish the platform where Barack Obama will take the oath of office, police and federal agents prepare to close more than 3 square miles of downtown Washington to traffic. Intelligence officials say they know of no credible threats, but the prospect of a suicide attacker working alone remains a big concern.
You're going to have millions of people potentially in and around the area. It's impossible to guarantee that no one in the city of Washington is going to have bad intent or have a weapon of some kind.
Carry on. Thank you very much.
The 600,000 attending the swearing-in and the afternoon parade will all go through airport-style screening. And for the first time, the National Mall from the foot of the Capitol to the Lincoln Memorial will be open to the public. No metal detectors here, but people will pass through checkpoints, and this area will be swarming with police. With as many as 2 million people expected, cell phone companies have rushed in extra antennas, but still worry the system could clog if too many users email pictures or talk at the same time. This year's parade will offer the first look at another kind of enhanced security, the new presidential Cadillac limousine.
One of the things is that they wanted more outward visibility for the occupants. So there was a little bit more glass space, a little more windows, a little bit taller profile.
As for private cars, 7 bridges from Northern Virginia into Washington will all be closed that day, in part to accommodate thousands of buses. One local congressman calls the restrictions, quote, insane, but security officials say leaving the bridges open would cause a massive traffic jam, making them useless in an emergency.
A lot of that has to do with evacuation and the ability of us to have people exit this city in case of an event.
With all the restrictions, the most dependable way to get to this historic inaugural will be to walk. Pete Williams, NBC News, Washington.
Much more on the inauguration and the new administration tomorrow on Meet the Press. Incoming Chief of Staff Rahm Emanuel will be David Gregory's exclusive guest tomorrow morning. Up next here tonight, Chief Foreign Correspondent Richard Engel live in Gaza City with news of a ceasefire.
If you've had a heart attack caused by a completely blocked artery, another heart attack could be lurking, waiting to strike. A heart attack caused by a clot, one that could be fatal. but Plavix helps save lives. Plavix, taken with other heart medicines, goes beyond what other heart medicines do alone to provide greater protection against heart attack or stroke and even death by helping to keep blood platelets from sticking together and forming clots. Ask your doctor about Plavix, protection that helps save lives.
If you have a stomach ulcer or other condition that causes bleeding, you should not use Plavix. When taking Plavix alone or with some other medicines, including aspirin, the risk of bleeding may increase, so tell your doctor before planning surgery. And always talk to your doctor before taking aspirin or other medicines with Plavix, especially if you've had a stroke. If you develop fever or unexplained weakness or confusion, tell your doctor promptly, as these may be signs of a rare but potentially life-threatening condition called TTP, which has been reported rarely, sometimes in less than 2 weeks after starting therapy. Other rare but serious side effects may occur.
If you take Plavix with other heart medicines, continuing to do so will help increase your protection against a future heart attack or stroke beyond your other heart medicines alone. You may be feeling better, but your risk never goes away. Help stay protected. Stay with Plavix.
In the islands, tropical flavors bring out the best in fresh seafood. At Red Lobster, we're bringing new island-inspired entrees to you, like tender wood-grilled Caribbean rock lobster and shrimp, brushed with a sweet and spicy glaze. New Hawaiian Isle shrimp and salmon, and new wood-grilled citrus rum shrimp and scallops, flame-seared to seal in the juices. Wood grilling and the flavors of the islands, a whole new way to love seafood. For a limited time at Red Lobster.
I'm Bruce Johnson, and I'm an inventor. I was always congested at night, and that meant a bad night of sleep. I tried everything from padded paper clips to straws. Finally, one night I was laying in bed, and I thought, outside of the nose, not inside.
Inside Breathe Right nasal strips are 2 plastic bands that lift open nasal passages so you breathe better and sleep better.
My nasal passages stay open, and I can breathe really quite relaxed.
If you have a cold, allergies, deviated septum, or snore, try Breathe Right and you'll notice a difference.
Inside Gaza tonight, a dangerous journey for our chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel as he crossed the border into Gaza. And for the first time in this 3-week offensive, he joins us live from Gaza City, just a few hours after Israel's announcement of a unilateral ceasefire. Richard, good evening.
Good evening, Lester. We can still hear Israeli jets and drones in the sky, but today Israel said it will stop its Gaza offensive if Hamas also halts its violence.
After 22 days of airstrikes and ground assaults, tonight a ceasefire, but only from Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert. The aims we laid out for the operation have been completely achieved, if not more than that, he said. Hamas has been dealt a serious blow. But violence could continue because Israeli troops will remain in Gaza for now, a safeguard to stop Hamas from rearming. Today, a Hamas official told us that's unacceptable.
This does not mean that Hamas will raise the white flag. Hamas will not give up, and they will continue fight against the occupation.
Empty rhetoric, Israel says. Israel has killed hundreds of Hamas fighters, collapsed its smuggling tunnels, and destroyed many Hamas rocket launchers. And if Hamas attacks now, it will be blamed for continuing to make Gaza a war zone. To drive to Gaza City, we had to travel in the back of an ambulance. It's the only way through Israeli checkpoints.
There are about 15 ambulances in this convoy, all with their lights flashing, trying to be seen. They believe there is some safety in numbers. The drivers have informed the Israeli army that we're coming, but we're probably the only vehicles on the road tonight.
The offensive to weaken Hamas has come at a terrible cost. Medical officials say more than 1,100 Palestinians have been killed, more than 5,000 wounded, many of them children. UN officials say today Israel attacked a UN school where 1,800 people were taking refuge. The third UN school hit so far. 2 boys were killed inside today.
The question now being asked is this and the killing of all the other innocent civilians in Gaza a war crime?
Israel says it's investigating, but all day in Gaza there were funerals. And wounded arrived at hospitals, desperately short of medicine. In Gaza, the ceasefire has been welcomed,
but many wonder if it will last.
Tonight, the ceasefire is already at risk as Hamas officials insist as long as Israeli troops remain in the Gaza Strip, Hamas will fight them. Lester?
Richard Engel in Gaza City tonight. Richard, thank you. Up next, more on Barack Obama's historic journey after this.
Sealing your bathroom can be a disaster. Your fingers were never meant to be used like this. Just look at the mess. You need Pro-Caulk, the only tool that delivers a neat finish in just minutes, again and again. Apply silicone as usual. Select your sealing edge, then slide along for a perfect finish. Reuse the excess silicone like this and extend the seal without showing the joint. Look again, there's no wasted silicone. Amazing! Select a smaller edge for a thinner silicone finish. Pro-Caulk is perfect for kitchen countertops to seal edges and eliminate those leaking corners. Sealing a corner neatly was impossible, but now with Pro-Caulk you can do it like a professional in seconds. Any edge, any corner, any joint, Pro-Caulk gives you a perfect finish in minutes. Made from Duraflex, the Pro-Caulk set is guaranteed to last year after year. Best of all, there's 8 sealing edges for every application. You get a 16mm corner to ensure a smooth finish, a curved edge to fill in the gaps between flat surfaces, and a grouting tip for between those tiles, and 5 more spectacular edges. The amazing Pro-Caulk Toolkit is just $19.95. We promise it will give you a clean, straight finish in just minutes, again and again, or your money back. But if you order now through this special TV offer, as a bonus, you'll get a 3rd applicator for hard-to-reach places. You'll also get a silicone remover to remove and strip old grouting. Plus, you'll get this tube of silicone. Call now and receive the complete Pro-Caulk kit. 3 tools with 12 edges. Silicone remover tool, a tube of silicone for only $19.95, plus shipping and handling. Any edge, any corner, any joint, your solution is Pro-Caulk. Call now.
To order your Pro-Caulk, call 1-800-968-8455 or send check or money order for $19.95 plus $5.95 shipping and handling too. Pro-Caulk, 2 Morgan Avenue, Norwalk, Connecticut. Call 1-800-968-8455. That's 1-800-968-8455. Must be 18 years or older to order.
Here's why Beano is different than these gas relievers. These you take after food gives you gas. You take Beano before, so you don't get gas. And if you don't get gas, maybe you don't need these. Take Beano before, and they'll Beano gas.
Sunday, exclusive. Barack Obama's Chief of Staff, Rahm Emanuel, on the top priorities for the new administration. Only on Meet the Press. Nightly news at nightly.msnbc.com.
Finally tonight, a trip steeped in presidential history. Barack Obama's train ride to Washington brings back a storied tradition. Rail journeys have marked important moments for the nation's chief executives, both celebrations and memorials. Here's NBC's Tom Costello.
We're looking forward to our ride.
When Barack Obama boarded his inauguration train today, he stepped into a presidential tradition that is rich with symbolism, made famous by Illinois' original favorite son. In 1861, with the nation on the brink of civil war, Abraham Lincoln began a 13-day, 8-state journey from his home in Springfield to his inauguration in Washington. Once in Baltimore, his security detail learned of an assassination plot and forced a last-minute change.
The threats were apparently so great that Lincoln actually entered Washington, D.C. in disguise. It was that serious.
5 years later, Lincoln's funeral procession would follow the same route home to Springfield. For nearly 200 years, the nation's rails have carried its candidates and presidents from coast to coast through the heartland to and from D.C.
It's almost impossible to think of presidential history without thinking of trains.
80 years after Lincoln died, Americans again lined the tracks as FDR's casket returned to Washington from Warm Springs, Georgia, a collective funeral for the man who'd led the country through the Great Depression and World War II. And 3 years later, Harry Truman launched his Whistle Stop campaign on board his Ferdinand Magellan.
You know, Harry Truman once said that there was nothing like standing on the back of a train and getting to know the American people from that vantage point. He said, if we ever lose that, it'll be bad for the president, it'll be bad for the country.
Today, another chapter in a history interwoven between America's railroads and its presidents. Tom Costello, NBC News, Baltimore.
Barack Obama and his family have now arrived in Washington. We'll be there tomorrow night as well. I'm Lester Holt in New York. Good night.
American leadership is at hand.
Barack Obama becomes the 44th President of the United States. Brian Williams reports live from Washington, D.C. A special edition of NBC Nightly News with limited commercial interruption. Brought to you by Audi. Progress is beautiful.
Monday on Today, the hero of Flight 1549. His first interview. Matt talks to the pilot live. Only on Today on NBC.
Are you suffering from high-definition omission? BrandSmart USA can help with an HD TV to fit every room and any budget. With a huge selection of brand-name TVs from 10 to 73-inch sets at low, low prices, BrandSmart USA can prepare you now for the February 09 conversion to digital when your old analog set will no longer work. Realize your high-definition ambition. Upgrade to HD and start enjoying a clearer picture now. BrandSmart USA, your high-definition physician with your favorite brands at low, low prices.
Amorazone, weekends at 6 and 11 on NBC6 HD.
The following program is sponsored by St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Hi, I'm Marlo Thomas, inviting you to join me and my friends Reba McEntire, Amy Grant, and Alan Alda, and help us help children who are fighting for life. Stay with us. This may not look like a hospital, but it is. These beautiful murals are everywhere. That's because St. Jude Children's Research Hospital was created for kids. It's not a scary place. It's happy and hopeful. And everyone here is dedicated to finding cures and saving children's lives. St. Jude is the last hope and only hope for so many of these kids. Kids like Camilla. Her parents are in a race against time to save their daughter's life. 10-year-old Camila has ALL, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. At St. Jude, the cure rate for this disease has risen to over 85%. But Camila has a complication that greatly reduces her chances for survival. Because of a genetic abnormality, her body can't tolerate the amount of chemotherapy needed to fight the cancer. It causes her blood counts to drop to a dangerous level. It's a delicate balance between life and death.